Morro Bay is considering allowing a dispensary in its town once again. While the ordinance is still in its infancy, there's a lot of debate about the logistics. KCOY with this.
A draft set of regulations were presented tonight at the Morro Bay City Council meeting. Still, not everyone is in favor of having a medical marijuana facility set up in Morro Bay.
We presented you with a draft ordinance.
The city of Morro Bay moved forward on preparing a set of regulations for medical marijuana collectives or cooperatives.
They're quite different. We didn't have any rules or regulations at all.
The city banned medical marijuana dispensaries last year after DEA agents raided the one owned by Charles Lynch. Since then, council members asked for provisions for applying for, permitting, and revoking the license of medical marijuana collectives or cooperatives. Under the proposed guidelines, 2 could operate in Morro Bay and only in commercial zones.
There's regulations as to background checks, and you can't be convicted of certain crimes, and you've got to have certain security measures.
Residents throughout the entire county had mixed reactions to the regulations.
And as I say, I just don't see an upside for Morro Bay.
Now we have increasing findings regarding the medical benefits of cannabis, our state law to allow its use by patients who are suffering.
I am against the ordinance. I think that the main reason the city is having the ordinance is for money. I think that they'll spend the money with an extra policeman, whatever a policeman costs.
I think this is the type of business that's going to bring people to the city. I hope that it brings positive influence to the city.
The city attorney asked council members to come back for another draft hearing to work out some issues that residents had, including how much medical marijuana facilities could dispense each day. In Morro Bay, I'm Liza Sullivan, your Central Coast News.
Santa Cruz City Council voted to limit dispensaries in the city to a grand total of 2. That means if 1/4 of the 60,000 residents had a permit, the dispensaries would have to serve 15,000 patients. Nice going, City Council. Now when people refer to the boardwalk, no one will know if they're talking about Santa Cruz or the Monopoly game you're playing.
What are you doing? You're trying to make money.
Trying to serve patients.
Dude, it's a not-for-profit, so it's not a monopoly.
If 2,000 square feet.
We're not past the limit of 2. Did you read the rest of that?
Heated words as the weed war in Santa Cruz turns into a battle after a controversial decision tonight. Good evening, everybody. Glad you could be here. I'm Nicole Chavez.
And I'm John Rieger. Olga is off tonight. Tonight, Santa Cruz's City Council unanimously said no to medical marijuana dispensaries.
Of course, that's new dispensaries we're talking about, capping the number in the city at the 2 already there.
Central Coast News reporter Brooke Holmquist was at that meeting. It looks like a lot of emotion, very hot proceedings tonight. Brooke.
Well, John, there were some fireworks outside of the city council meeting, those mad, as you saw there, for the fact that they're not going to be able to open a new dispensary. But inside the city council meeting, it was a lot of thoughtful conversation, detailed discussion about kind of fine-tuning some of those revisions on the ordinance that the city is talking about. And the dispensaries already in existence say it's really just the next step in still being able to provide that relief for their patients.
I'm ready to move on.
It seems both sides of the medical marijuana debate were ready to turn the page.
I'm ready for the moratorium to be over so we can move on and get in compliance with all the new regulations, if we're not already. But there are other issues that have come up that we have to wait for the moratorium to be lifted so that we can go after those, like being open on Sunday, or there's some other issues that it's holding up. So for me, I'd rather get the moratorium lifted and deal with the issues.
The 2 dispensaries in existence will be allowed to stay, but no new applications will be accepted. And the council limited the grow plots to 3,000 square feet, and that they also have to be a part of the dispensary.
I think we're hitting the right spot. You know, our whole industry is so fluid right now that the laws are changing on a weekly and monthly basis. So whatever they're saying now in probably 6 months to a year are probably going to be mute anyway.
Santa Cruz police say they're in a tough spot and back the city's recommendations.
Law enforcement in the state has had issues with robberies at facilities, which is fortunately at this point in time has not been a major problem for us, but is certainly a concern that doesn't go away. And there's been many violent acts associated with dispensaries up and down the state, so that is helpful when you locate them in an area to try and minimize those impacts.
But the dispensaries, as well as WHAM, who is in a league of its own really in this battle, aren't opposed to the regulations either. On the contrary, in fact.
We've seen what happens in communities that don't have guidelines like Los Angeles and Monterey and other parts of the state. The guidelines allow cities to control dispensaries and provide places where patients can safely get their medicine.
And actually, the city made these guidelines very first time back 8 years ago, and now really they're just, like I said, fine-tuning some of those regulations. They made the two big decisions tonight on the big things that were on that ordinance, and now it's just a matter of working out some of the other details, one being what these dispensaries will be called, nonprofits or collectives, and really what that name means. Also, just the fact that they're going to have to report their finances to the city as well so that they can keep those on track. In Santa Cruz, Brooke Holmquist, your Central Coast News.
This has been the Reefer Report for March 11, 2010. Thanks for watching.